Mr. Green,
How you doing, sir?
how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
All right, all right.
Nice to meet you.
Take a couple notes real quick.
Sure thing, man.
Last name Green, correct?
Yes, sir. With no E on the end.
All right.
Should say Dyson.
You said say Dyson.
Nah, that's Green. That's fine. I'm sorry. I was just talking out loud.
No issue, man. All right, what brings you by today?
So it's a lot of things. But specifically where to start, I think that's part of the problem. Is that I don't know what the root cause is. Or more so, maybe I'm running from the root cause. Currently, I'm living with my dad and my stepmom,
All right.
and I'm not comfortable. I hate that I'm not comfortable. And it's been like this for a while now. My dad and I are two people who believe that we're both always right.
Okay.
And for that reason, it's like we can never get along. And I'm more so willing, to put myself in his shoes. He never puts himself in my shoes.
Understood.
And I try to have conversations with my dad, and my dad talks at me. And with that being said, it's just like there's no peace, there's no happiness, and everything is forced now. And I think that I force it. I know that I force it for my stepmom. My stepmom is more so willing to accept my dad the way that he is, and I don't. And it's having a toll on my physical health,
Understood.
my mental health, and my emotional health.
Understood, man. Wow. I can definitely understand where you're coming from. I can definitely sympathize with you. It's not easy living with somebody who you probably hold dear, and having a feeling of aggression towards them, or any type of uncomfortableness, towards them. So I can definitely see where you're coming from. But how long has this issue been going on for you guys?
For me, I would say the issue has been all my life, and I hate that I'm saying it like that or make it sound very dramatic.
Right.
But I have more bad memories than good memories. And are you asking this question more so just about the relationship with my dad and I, or me and my household?
It's more so the relationship with your dad and you. I think understanding that dynamic can help us get to the root of the issue.
All right. Well, if it's with my dad and I, yeah, it's always been negative for
Okay.
me. And it's sick that I'm saying that, because it's like I feel like he tries, but when he tries, it's the same outcome, and he gets frustrated with himself. And so it's like it'll be a pattern, a repeated cycle, and again, in that cycle, it's more bad memories than good ones. So yeah, man, for as long as I can remember, really.
Understood. What do you think his problem might be stemming from? From his childhood, or his family?
Really, I think that my dad is running away from his own problems.
Okay.
And he takes out the stress on myself. He'll take out the stress on my mom, and then it's like he'll try to like get back to quote unquote being himself. And realistically, I believe that my dad doesn't. I don't want to say he doesn't know who himself is. He just doesn't accept it, And I think that it's more so learned behaviors that he's seen from his parents. They were very. I don't want to say the word abusive because I never lived with my grandparents, but from what my brother would tell me or what my dad would share with me, it's just my grandfather wasn't the best disciplinary, and it's like my dad just picked up everything from him, and it's so funny because my dad resents my grandfather,
Understood.
but he acts just like him, and I believe that's like where it comes from, and the frustrations is also like my dad wants me to be everything that he wanted to be. It's like he wanted me to fill in his shoes and take over, but my dad is very controlling, he's very controlling and manipulative, and it wasn't until I got into a certain age to where I realized what was going on, you know, and I put my foot down. I refuse to deal with it anymore. And like I said earlier, it was taking a toll on my mental and physical health, and heavy on my mental health growing up. Like with depression, with anxiety, and things of that nature. Like I deal with those problems now, and the root of it was because of my dad. And yeah, man, it's just con- controlling, manipulative. Um, and I apologize if I feel like I'm going off track. It's just a lot. So I would start there, and anger. Anger. No one showed my dad how to deal with this anger. No one checked him, more so not showed him how to deal with it. No one checked him. And so it's been like this for years.
Well, first of all, Mr. Green, I want to say that I appreciate you for sharing all of this. I know it can't be easy for you to, first of all, feel a certain way about your father. I understand. Has he been in your life since you've been born, or?
Yes, I would say 80% yes. He's been in my life in and out. So I never really lived with my dad. It's funny because I feel like my dad lived with me.
Okay.
My dad would come around. I lived with my stepmom and my grandparents since I would say, a little child, around 3 or 4, up until where I'm at now. And my dad, he would like bounce around from house to house until he was able to get his own house. And when he was able to get his own house, I never wanted to move in. Currently, my dad will basically lives with my stepmom.
Okay.
He lives with my stepmom. My stepmom accepts him. And so yeah, I haven't been around.
You haven't been. Oh, so you're not in the home currently?
No, I'm not. Currently, so I recently graduated from Morgan State University.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. I recently graduated. And, what's funny, while we're on the topic of graduation, I'm going to come back to it. But since graduated, I moved back then at my grandparents' house. My aunts currently own a house. And I'm living with them up until I have my own crib. And it's funny because I brought up graduation. And what's crazy about my dad, earlier I said, controlling. I didn't know if I wanted to go to college, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. Literally, when I got my diploma from high school,
Yes.
my dad gave me 3 options. He said, "You're not going to college. Your mother and I can't afford that. Where do you think you're going to get the money from? How are you going to pay for a dorm? How are you going to pay for tuition?
Right.
How are you going to pay for a meal plan, for books? So this is what you're going to do. You're either going to go to the police academy, you're either going to go to the army, or you're going to be a firefighter.
Wow.
But college is out of the question.
Wow.
And now look at me. I have a degree. So it's funny how everything that he planned out for me was the opposite. And I'm sorry, I know that was off topic, but I had to say that.
No, all of this is, important to know because we need to get to the root of the problem. And would you actually be interested in, being in a setting where you two are, talking and trying to work out the issue, or do you think it'll lead to any progress?
I'm open for it. I don't think that my dad is willing to accept anything that I would say. My dad is the kind of person to where he can't be wrong. If you're not hearing him out, if you don't agree with him, then you're the issue.
Right.
So there's no compromising, there's no negotiating, there's no agreeing to disagree. And when you try to bring up any options of trying to like help the situation or fix the situation, it's like he rejects them.
Right.
And so like, I'm open for it. Do I care for it? Do I think it's going to be beneficial? I don't. Being honest, I don't. But I'm open for it.
Well, I'm going to.
Any progress is progress, right?
Yeah, of course. I'm definitely going to recommend that we get that. We get into that because I think you guys, talking and trying to figure out where your guys' disconnect is could definitely lead to some progress. Do you think, your goals for yourself don't align with what he wants you to do? because I know you said that you know
Can you ask the question one more time? I'm sorry.
the goals that you have for yourself. Say
Right.
you know you wanted to go to school, and your father said no, we don't have the money and things like that. Do you think that's not something that he wanted you to do because he doesn't believe in education, or he just truly felt that the money just wasn't going to cover all the expenses?
I truly think he felt like that money wasn't going to cover all of the
Okay.
expensive. You know, the thing about it is, in grade school, when I got my report cards or progress reports, I was a decent student. I was a B average student. And my dad would, he would make it known that he was proud of my grades. During the summertime, I never lived with my dad, but during the summertime, he would come by and would try to give me like a few assignments and stuff to do, so I know that he cared about school. I just think that my dad didn't give me any options. He didn't give me any freedom to be myself. So I felt like it was more so the money.
Okay, appreciate you for sharing that. Is there a feeling of, I know you talked about what you're going through with anxiety and things like that. Is there a feeling of anxiety and things like that when you're around them?
It used to be heavy. It used to be. To a certain extent, I couldn't be around my dad without medication.
Right.
I remember growing up, I would take Pepto-Bismol every day.
Okay.
And who likes Pepto-Bismol? Really. But I would have to take a teaspoon or a tablespoon for my nerves. So unfortunately, every day for a couple years actually, I would have to take a tablespoon or a teaspoon of Pepto-Bismol. And what child likes Pepto-Bismol? But as a child, looking at the directions, Pepto-Bismol, it calms down your stomach or aches. Just the thought of my dad coming around would give me stomach aches because I was in fear of not actually getting physically hurt, but just what is he going to say to me this time? What is he going to do? How is he going to react? Is everything, is my room okay? Am I doing something wrong? And so, I would tell my mom that, Mom, my stomach just hurt. I think I have stomach virus. And sometimes I would try to sneak off and take the medication when she wasn't looking,
Right.
or wait until she go to sleep. And I wished that then I knew what I was going through, because I would have had anxiety medication.
Exactly.
Pepto-Bismol was just like putting a Band-Aid over something that needed stitches.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, again, I appreciate you for sharing all this information.
No problem.
This can definitely help us get you guys the help that we know can mend you guys' relationship. We actually take family very serious here at the agency, and whatever we can do to help you, let us know. We're going to continue these sessions, and
Thank you.
the more help we can provide, the better we feel about you guys, and getting you guys the help. I know that you said that you're currently not in the home, but please just take me through a typical day in the home, and
Okay. So typical day in the home would be me waking up. Say if it's a weekend. Most times my dad came during the weekends. So me and my stepmom, she's in her room. I'm in my room. I wake up around like 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11. I will wake up and I'll turn on my TV and I'll watch morning cartoons for a little while. Back then we didn't have the technology that we did now,
Right.
so I was on a computer, on Facebook or so, playing games, and I would hear my mom's phone ring, and her and my dad would just be on the phone talking, and I always knew it was my dad because there's no reason I should hear him from outside of my mom's room.
Cool.
I'm in my room, but I should voice that loud. You're talking to my mother first, and then a woman. And it wasn't always bad.
Okay.
80% was bad though. 80%. And just hearing my mom saying, "Okay, I'll see you when you get here," or "What time are you coming?" or "Do you need me to pick you up?" "Oh, someone's dropping you off." thing like that was a trigger for me, and I would get nervous. I didn't really want to tell my family. I didn't tell my family because I was scared of what was going to happen. And so I dealt with it. My dad would arrive. He would walk in. He speaks to my mom. He speaks to me, and then whatever mood that my dad was feeling, that was the mood for the day. If my dad was angry, if something upsetting him, before he arrived, he would take it out, by just yelling and screaming and threatening. Keyword is threatening, and it has such an effect on me now. He would come in, and I would just try to stay to myself, for as long as I could. And my dad would try to come and, take me and my mom out places, or if he had money, do stuff like that. But just being around his presence bothered me. Even looking at him showing signs of affection to my mom as far as hugging or kissing the cheek, stuff like that, I was disgusted. I was disgusted because it's just, in my eyes, I see you for who you are. And my mom sees you for who she wants you to be. And, and it's just, the thing about me is I can't fake my facial expressions. I know my pops will always call me emotional, or, man up and stuff like that. But you installed so much fear in me that I didn't know how to be a man. And the one person that I was supposed to go to was absent, and so those were typical days, man. And, it sounds so bad, but, I wouldn't be thorough, I wouldn't be real if I didn't say what it really was, and back then I never said what it really was. Back then I never said what it really was. When my dad finally got a place of his own, my stepmom and I would go visit him at his house, and I would try to fake the peace. I would try to fake the happiness, or I would try to pretend that I was okay, and no one ever told me that it's okay not to be okay. It wasn't until I started putting myself first that I started becoming okay, and going over at his house, as a child, if we're at his house right now, do you mind if I show you an example? If I have my phone, can I use my phone? If we're over his house right now, I'll get on my phone. It was hardly any communication as far as talking and stuff. I let that be with him and my mom. And when my mom is ready to go, I've been ready to go. Okay. And when my mom was ready to go, I've been ready to go. And so yeah, man, those were like typical days. I never really had fun. I had fun sometimes, as far as like my mom trying to create the fun in the situation and me going along with what my mom did.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, Mr. Green, I appreciate all of this.
I have a question. It's not related to what we're going through. So I noticed that you can dress very formally, and I wanted to know where you got your shirt from. And I was looking for, I guess, more so like formal shirts. I wear the same suit all the time, and can you help me out?
Unfortunately, Mr. Green, I have to stay at the topic at hand. Self-disclosure is something that we have to take very serious as a social worker. Unfortunately, we gotta stay with the topic at hand, and that's with you and your dad and your family dynamics. So, unfortunately, I can't answer that question.
All right.
But one thing I will say is,
well, if you can't fit in no more, maybe in the future.
Mr. Green, I appreciate you coming today. I'm going to recommend more sessions. Would you be interested in coming in about 2-3 times a week, in one day, with a group intervention involving your father and your stepmother? I think it's important that she joins us as well.
I'm open for it. I don't want to lie and say I'm 100% there yet. I'm more like and the 90%. I think the 10% is the self doubt, you know, and you know how, for example, hand sanitizer will say 99% effective. That's like me right now. So I'm open for it, you know, but it's always that little bit that's still there that, you know, I just feel like it's gonna be there for a lifetime, you know. So I'm going. Will you be there?
Well, I can't promise you that I'll be there, but somebody, another social worker will be there, and he will take his job very seriously. I promise you, and try to, take care of, if your needs and the needs of your family as serious as I will. So I promise you that it won't be, somebody who just is there, taking notes and things like that. It'll be somebody that actually cares for you guys. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Mr. Green. I think I've got everything I need. Appreciate the time,
I
man.
appreciate it, man.
All right.
See you soon.